Hey, it's Sasha Avdikov. Thanks for joining me. And in this video, what I'd like to cover is people who sell their stock too quickly. Now, I've gotten a lot of emails over the last few weeks, especially in the volatile markets, where saying, hey, I get into a position and I'm in the position and then I get out of the position far too quickly, and then the stock actually goes in my favor, either goes to the downside or to the upside on what I was predicting or projecting. Now, why is this happening to me, and why am I getting out of positions too quickly? Why am I selling too soon? Typically, if you know and understand human behavior and the way that our brain process works, you'll get an idea of why this may be happening to you. Now, I'm going to go over the reptilian, the mammal, and the neocortex brain with you here in a second. So this is the three brain theory. Now, in the three brain theory, if you go back hundreds of thousands of years and you know how humans have evolved as creatures, our bodies, our mechanisms that we use on a day-to-day basis has evolved. It's a much slower change and a much slower process, but if you know and understand the foundation of how things have evolved, you'll get an idea and sense of why you may be selling too quickly. So typically, hundreds of thousands of years ago, our brain was just the reptilian brain. Now, this reptilian brain was very small and very tiny. It was very responsible for our fight or flight, our survival instincts. This is the things that we needed to survive in the world. It was also responsible for mating. So all those things, that's what the reptilian brain was responsible for. Now, in today's society, it's still responsible for those things. The reptilian brain still gets switched on, things like during mating or survival. It pumps that adrenaline right there. It sends the signals to pump the adrenaline that if there's a bear in front of us and we just say, hey, there's a bear, now do we fight or do we flight? And that's what the reptilian brain is responsible for, is all these survival instincts and mechanisms. Now, on top of the reptilian brain grew an emotional part of your brain. Now, the emotional part of your brain, now that it's overlapped, your reptilian brain was in control of your emotions. This is the mammal brain. And this was responsible for the human connections, for empathy, for the happiness, the sadness, a lot more of these kinds of things that we get in a lot of the emotional side of things. So anytime you're related to, you have an experience with happiness or sadness or joy, this is during your emotional brain, and it sends the signals for all these processes. Now, on top of that emotional brain grew the neocortex. The neocortex had to do with strategic things such as strategy, planning, like chess playing, prison break operations, anything that involves strategy, that's what the neocortex is responsible for. So we have these three brain processes, the reptile, the mammal, and then the neocortex, which really now separates us from a lot of other creatures. And that's the three brains that you have. Now, they all appear to be as one brain. However, during certain situations, they function differently. So during mating, during survival, we have the reptilian brain that gets activated. During strategy, during chess, we have the neocortex that gets activated. And during connections and well-beings with others, we have that mammal brain or the emotional brain kicking in a lot of times. So during trading, you also have these brains that play a huge role. Now, oftentimes, most traders will use that neocortex, the higher part of their brain, the very logical thinking part of their brain. And the neocortex is responsible for a lot of these trade decisions. But as panic selling kicks in, the reptilian brain flicks on. And when the reptilian brain kicks on, now you're in survival mode. You're in survival mode is the most basic mode that you're created with. So the reptilian brain will always over-dominate that neocortex unless you're aware of what's happening. So for many people, if they're beginning traders, they'll kick into survival mode. And they'll say, hey, I don't want to die. Just like if there's a bear in front of you, I don't want to die in front of this bear. They think that it's that bad as well when your stock starts tanking, because hey, I don't want to lose. I don't want to have a major losing trade. I want to survive. And that's when the neocortex starts working. The adrenaline kicks in and you have a panic sell, and you have your sell order, and you get out of your position far too quickly. So this is the process, and this is what's happening in your mind if you're getting out of positions far too quickly and then they go in your favor. This is usually the reason why this is happening, and typically it's because you're thinking about money and you're thinking about survival in the modern world. Now, one way to combat this or overcome this is start being aware when you're in the reptilian brain, not only in stock trading, but also in general day-to-day world. So if you start being aware of, hey, I'm feeling really emotional, now I'm in the emotional part of my brain. Or hey, I'm really upset or angry, or I feel very violent towards this person, then you may be more in your reptilian brain. And that's why you may see certain people acting and reacting to situations on a very hot head. That is because they're acting during their reptilian brain. It's that survival mode. It's that fight or flight mode. And they're being more closer to the reptiles. So in either case, that's really what's happening if you're getting out or selling your position too quickly, is that you're acting on your base human needs, which is survival. It's the fear that kicks in, but it's due to that reptilian brain that's flicking that light switch for you. So if you can start being more aware of when that's happening, you may be able to control it a little bit better. And the more that you do it, the more pain that you endure, the more times that you've experienced something, then you'll be able to move yourself out of that, and you'll just be able to start using your neocortex to make the decisions in your stock trading. Now, for some people, they do it with the emotional part of their brain, and they just feel good about that stock, or it just makes them feel warm and fuzzy. And those people are using the emotional part of their brain. But really where you want to get to is make the logical decision, the neocortex, using that part of your brain to make your stock trades. And that will really help you be a little bit more consistent in your trading decisions and knowing when to buy or sell. So thanks for joining me in this video. If you found this video helpful and you want to see more training videos like this one, go ahead, click this link right here. And when you get to that website, enter your name and email address, and I'll be sure to send you more free training videos when they come out. And if you want to take a look at some of my in-depth training courses, then go ahead and take a look at my website at TRADERSFLY.com. Thanks for joining me, and remember to do what you love, contribute to others, and most importantly, live life abundantly. I'll see you next time.